let's get into a problem you might have while pressing your barrel in the all thread method. Problem number one, I don't even know what you call it. I know that this is called the barrel journal, but I don't know what the hole is called. So anyway, barrel journal hole. Let's say that is machined very rough, like it was on this Tortort receiver. It was both rough and it was undersized, like good enough undersized where I felt I needed to do something about it. What you can do if you're just, getting by with what you have is I took a screwdriver and I wrapped this in a paper towel or a couple layers of paper towel. Then on top of the paper towel, I taped some sandpaper. So just imagine it's a thicker piece of sandpaper, but what I did, I basically taped it down and I just made a flap like this. I chucked this end up in a drill and it basically just creates a hone. So you're doing this in the barrel journal opening and you're smoothing it out, you're opening up the dimensions, and I would not go more than, like, I don't know, my barrel journal was 908 and the opening, I think my final opening size was like 906 and a half to 907. I wouldn't risk trying to get any closer than that. I know that the Russian specs, or Russian specs for like the crescent pin, AKMs, they say you can go down to as little as like a half thousandth interference. So again, I did like 1.5 to 2 thousandths, and it was not a hard time pressing this barrel in at all. So what I did was I did that honing with like it was 320 or 350 grit, and you're talking just like 10 seconds at a time, if that, of rotating the drill in that barrel, in that opening. After I was done with that 320, I wanted to smooth it up a little more, so I went to 400 and then 600, I think. And I'm just like lightly, just going back and forth all around the opening in this direction because I wanted it smooth in the direction that I'm pressing the barrel in. But I'm definitely not removing any more material. I'm just making it a little bit smoother than 320 grit is. All right, another problem. Let's say you clocked your barrel the wrong way. It's not, that notch is not at top dead center. Let's say you're off a few degrees. Well, the good thing is that if you have the dimensions, close enough, it's not too hard to twist the receiver while you have the barrel clamped. But the best way to clamp the barrel is take duct tape and fold it in half the long way. Sorry for the audio. So you're going to fold your duct tape in half lengthwise, so you have basically two sticky halves, and then you're going to wrap your barrel with the one sticky half against the barrel and the other sticky half on the outside, and that's going to help grip it to the vise. So hopefully you got soft jaws, because you really can't do it with steel jaws. You will screw up your barrel big time. But anyway, crank down on that. That will hold your barrel very securely, and while you are wrenching on the front end and pressing the barrel in, you will be able to apply force to this and get it going in the right direction. But make sure you're not just eyeballing it. Make sure you make a mark of some way, because one time I just tried to eyeball it and it turns out that I overshot it and I went way too far the other direction because I was just kind of guessing. We're only talking thousandths here, where a couple, 1 or 2 degrees. You can't judge that based on feel. So just make a mark, and remember, you can only really twist it as it's going in. So make sure you leave yourself enough room for correction. You don't want to realize, oh crap, I'm not at top dead center, when you only have 10 thousandths left to go. Make sure you got that figured out pretty quick. All right, so let's talk about the scariest problem of you pressed your barrel in too far. I really don't know what to tell you if you don't have the things that I have. I'm not even going to call them tools, they're just things. But I was lucky to be able to press it out. I think it's just going to take some ingenuity, probably, unless you feel like dropping some money. because what I was able to do, I pressed it in much too far, like, I don't know, 10, 15 thousandths too far. I have this real Abbott hammer. It has a brass piece. I was able to get this right in there to protect the chamber area. Then I have this piece of pipe. I filed the top of this to make that nice and smooth, and then I cut a jar lid. I was able to slide this jar lid on the barrel. It butted up against down here, and it would kind of prevent the steel here from punching through it and then digging into my metal there. So anyway, what I did was I took the whole receiver and barrel combo. I put it down basically, through this hole. These parts of the pipe braced up against this part of the receiver. And then with the brass nut in place here, I took a bolt, threaded a big fat bolt, threaded bolt, and I used that as a pin because I didn't have a pin, punch big enough to knock on it. But I took a big threaded bolt and I just started hammering away, and eventually it got where I needed it to. Again, that was a close one. I don't know what you're going to do if you're in that position, because I kind of doubt you have the exact same things I have. But that's just kind of, I'm just putting some ideas in your head of, some ways to think about solving a problem if it happens to you. I think the best way to avoid that is just get it close when you are cranking your barrel in. And then, all right, so the way that I overshot it was when I did get it close, and we're talking within like a couple thousandths, I then took my barrel out of the all thread method, and I put this in the muzzle, and I banged it on the floor. I don't know why I didn't just do 1 or 2 bangs and then stop and check. I did like 7, and it just, I don't know why it went in so easy and so fast. But yeah, don't do 7 bangs on a concrete floor without checking your headspace. You might be in for a bad time. That's all the tips I think I got for you on this one. I might make another video of some more, but if I can't think of any, this might be it.